If you've recently exited a relationship with someone who has strong narcissistic or borderline traits, you might be struggling with thoughts that just won't stop. Even though you know the relationship was unhealthy, there's still this pull, this aching need to figure out what went wrong. You might find yourself Googling constantly, talking to ChatGPT, reading articles, watching videos, trying to figure it all out. So even though you're trying to move on, your mind keeps dragging you back into the past. I'm Lise Leblanc, therapist, author, and life coach. And in today's video, I want to explain 7 specific reasons why you can't stop ruminating after a toxic relationship. And stick around until the end because I'm going to give you my best tip on how to overcome this problem. But first, let me just say that if you're in the early stages of waking up to what really happened, then analyzing and watching content like this is actually a healthy part of your process. But at a certain point, the mental looping and research becomes a trap and it becomes addictive because every time you obsess, rehash, or dig for answers, you're activating the same neurological pathways that were firing during the relationship. The same reward circuits, the same stress chemicals, the same emotional chaos that got you hooked in the first place. And without realizing it, you end up reinforcing the trauma bond. Okay, so let's jump in. Number one, your brain craves coherence and can't leave the puzzle unsolved. The human brain is wired to seek patterns, meaning, and resolution. It needs a story that makes sense in order to feel safe, something it can file away. But in a trauma bonded relationship, there is no coherent storyline, just contradiction after contradiction, mixed signals, emotional whiplash, things that were said and denied, apologies followed by blame or threats, love bombing followed by coldness or cruelty. So your mind keeps spinning, trying to put the pieces together, replaying conversations, analyzing timelines, looking for the truth, trying to make sense of it all. Number two is that you never got to speak your truth. During the relationship, you may have tried to explain your pain, express your needs, or set boundaries, only to be met with defensiveness, blame, or total dismissal. Your truth was always buried under their narrative. And now, even though it's over, your mind keeps circling back, replaying what you wish you'd said, the boundaries you wish you'd set, the conversations that were never allowed to happen. Still fighting to be heard, seen, and understood. Number three is that you feel like you should have been able to fix it. Even if the relationship was chaotic, painful, or deeply unhealthy, staying mentally attached to them through obsessive thoughts, fantasies, or what if scenarios can feel safer than facing the emptiness and the sense of failure that can follow. Maybe you did see the red flags. Maybe your gut knew, but you stayed. Not because you're naive, stupid, or weak, but because your integrity and empathy was exploited. You were made to believe that if you just loved them better, communicated more clearly, maybe you could fix it. So you twisted yourself into not trying to hold everything together. And that role became your purpose. And now that it's over, your mind keeps spinning. Why wasn't I enough? How did I let this happen? What if someone else comes along and finally gives them what I couldn't? And that's what cuts the deepest. The idea that someone else might succeed where you failed. So instead of sitting with the grief, the regret, and that sense of failure, your brain loops through the story, trying to prove you did everything you could, that it wasn't your fault. Because if you can prove that, maybe you can let go without shame. Maybe you can walk away with your fixer, solver, savior identity intact. But underneath the sense of failure is that fear of losing the idealized identity that was built around them and their needs, that sense of purpose it gave you, the meaning it brought to your life, the belief that if you could just get it right, you would be worthy as you are. And that's why the rumination feels safer than letting go. Because letting go means facing that emptiness, that uncertainty, those feelings of failure, and working through the painful process of rebuilding your sense of self that's authentic and not defined by someone else's approval. Number four is your mind is still seeking closure. So, along the same lines as trying to find coherence by putting the pieces of the puzzle together, your mind also needs a sense of closure to this experience. As you probably know, trauma bonded relationships don't end with clarity or resolution. There is no honest conversations, no acknowledgement of harm, no mutual understanding that lets you move on with peace. So your brain keeps going in circles, looking for a clean, consistent ending that never comes. It's an attempt to put that period at the end of the sentence so that you can finally close the chapter. Just think of when you watched a movie that had an open ending. It's frustrating because your mind keeps spinning with possibilities, rewriting the ending, wondering what really happened. Number five is that thinking gives you the illusion of control and security. Rumination feels active. So it gives you the sense that you're doing something, you're analyzing, you're fixing, doing something productive to make sense of it all. And it brings some relief in the moment, but that relief never lasts because trauma bond withdrawal isn't a cognitive problem. It is a nervous system state. And no amount of analyzing can resolve what your body is still holding on to. The more time you spend in your head, the more disconnected you get from your body, which is the only place healing can actually take place. So it's like trying to think your way out of a burning house when it's your body that's on fire. So until you put that fire out through nervous system regulation, your brain will keep spinning in circles. Number six, your body still thinks that you're in danger. In trauma bonds, your nervous system is trained to stay on high alert for good reason. So you're always scanning for danger, analyzing every shift in mood or tone, walking on eggshells. So even when the relationship is over, your body is still bracing for impact, trying to predict, prevent, and put out the next fire. So even though it's over, your nervous system is still being flooded with cortisol, adrenaline, and other stress chemicals. Your brain just can't relax. Your nervous system can't relax. It doesn't recognize that the danger has passed. And instead, it's sending the message that something's wrong, that you're not safe. And your brain responds the only way it knows how by thinking harder, by replaying, reviewing the red flags, trying to find ways to fix the problem so that you can feel safe again. But this just overwhelms you even more because these thoughts are pumping your body with more stress hormones. So again, your brain just races around trying to find the exit. Number seven is that you're still addicted to the cycle of intensity and those moments of relief. In a trauma bond, emotional chaos is often followed by powerful moments of closeness. It's that apology after the outburst, the intense affection after the silent treatment, or the promises of a perfect future after threats of leaving. Over time, your nervous system begins to associate the person and that pain with the relief that follows because they were the source of your distress and they were also the one that soothed it. And this created a powerful biochemical loop. So now, even though the relationship is over, your system is still chasing that cycle, and rumination becomes part of the chase. Your thoughts are replaying those good moments, romanticizing the connection, imagining how things could have turned out differently because your nervous system is still attached to the cycle and it's trying to recreate the highs and those periods of relief. So you're not just missing the person, you're missing the release your body felt in those rare moments of connection or in the calm after the storm. So your thoughts keep going back to them because subconsciously you still believe they're the only ones who can relieve the emotional distress you're now feeling. Okay, so as promised, my best tip for breaking this obsessive cycle and finally starting to heal is to stop trying to understand this through the lens of a normal relationship, because this wasn't a normal relationship that simply went wrong due to poor communication or boundaries. This was a trauma bond with someone who likely has deep, untreated personality disorder traits. Once you see it through this lens, everything does become clear. The chaos, the mixed signals, the way you lost yourself trying to hold it all together. It wasn't your fault and it was never yours to fix. And once that truth lands on you, that's when the healing becomes possible. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear this today. And to learn more about breaking a trauma bond, please click on the link above.